Hello, this is my first video to my first YouTube channel. Let's work, baby. I'm everybody now. Right now, we're gonna make our first tool bench with a whole bunch of different pallets. I'm just here to try to do everything my way and show you guys how I basically do it. First thing I'm gonna do is basically rip up all these pallets. I'll speed through that and I'll show you the final result afterwards. First thing I'm doing is I'm gonna pick up all these basically rafters up. I'm just gonna use a crowbar and a plastic mallet. I just don't want to dent the wood too much. I'll try to use everything I could, kind of pick it up as I go. Instead of using a crowbar and hammer, I'm gonna use a reciprocating saw. I'm making the tool bench just to actually do more work on everything. I'm gonna use a reciprocating saw, kind of just carve it out, and now I'm gonna probably pluck the nails afterwards. Let's get to work, baby. But just like anything else, it's just gonna be a learning process. That's what you're basically here for. You're gonna watch me do stuff. Hopefully we do some funky stuff. I love tools. I love a whole bunch of different brands. Maybe we do some drill fights. Maybe we do some more tools that you guys could eventually afford. Maybe clearance options, just like the Home Depot deal. Right now they have the BOGO deal going on at Home Depot, but a whole bunch of stuff. Lowe's is also doing the same thing. Alright, so I did a little off-camera work. I'm basically just building the design. So right now, one of the pallets actually had this little like cool U shape. I actually think it will look pretty nice, especially when it's sanded down and basically leveled out. I'm gonna make these the two end caps. I'm gonna use this 4x6 at the other end caps. What I would do is I'm gonna use some clamps. I'm basically gonna try to just glue this end. I might use a pocket screw to try to get it inside. Yet again, it's a work table. I might just hit it from the outside. Just kind of square everything up, just make it as neat as possibly could. Alright, basically all I'm doing is clamping this stuff up. I have this nice little grip here, like I said. Basically all I'm trying to do is basically get it square. I'm just gonna go on the outside with it. Try to line everything up. Obviously I didn't show it off camera. I did do 2 pre-holes, just to make it a little easier for myself. Know that I claim to be. Hopefully you just kind of enjoy my designs and we'll see how it goes. Right now I'm gonna get the rest of the sides done. It's basically gonna look like this. At the end, I should have a nice little square box. This is basically my box. I do have a little wobble in it, right here. Just the wood is a little wobbed. That's what you're gonna get with some pallets. What I'm actually gonna do is I'm actually gonna put the piece of plywood on top. It is a workbench, like I said, so I'm probably just gonna hit every 4 screws on it. Hopefully this channel gets big enough where I can just build another one and not have to replace anything. At some point after I kind of do that, I'll try to level these planes out, kind of hit it with the track saw and kind of square everything up before I build the bottom base. Alright, basically what I did is I squared up one side, just get a nice even cut. Then I basically took a piece of wood, lined up my circular saw and kind of basically followed the track. Obviously it's not going to be perfect because none of these pieces of wood are perfect. After I kind of glue everything down, I'm going to take a second track anyway, so I just don't find it fully necessary to square up everything as of right now. After you guys see my pattern and my layout, I'll kind of show you where my head's at and why I chose not to square it up now and why I'm going to square it up a little later. What I did is I basically just went through the top, adjusted the little screws. Like I said, I'm not going to square it exactly yet. What I'm actually gonna do is lay out my nice little pattern right now. Why I'm doing that is because obviously I don't have a planer. I'm doing this kind of by myself. This is just what I have in the shop. This is what I have in the truck. So obviously since I can't get everything square, that little star pattern is actually gonna allow a little gapping and give me a nice little design anyway. After I kind of lay out that little star pattern, I'm gonna glue everything down, clamp everything down, maybe put a few brad nails in it. After I kind of get that all set and done, I'll basically end up coming back, maybe build the stand, and we'll probably come back at a later date, maybe even tomorrow, to try to finish up everything after this glue dries. Like I said, baby, we're just working with what we got. Honestly, it looked pretty square to me. And especially if you see the design afterwards, like I said, it's gonna be good. Just working with what I got. I just didn't like the track. Had a multi-tool, so why not do it? I'm honestly not that good with the circular saw yet. We'll get better, just like anything else. I'll always get better, because I am a winner. What I'm basically doing is just adding a little center point, just so I get a little more sturdiness. I don't have 10 years of woodworking. This is about my second ever project. So right now, it's just a little fun and I love the sport for me. Eventually, I hope to get some tips from you guys to learn a little bit. Like maybe actually taking the time out of my day to do some pre-holes. Maybe not some slips so many times. I'm not finding exact center. What I'm basically gonna do is see what pieces butt up. So I'm gonna try to do this little like arrow pattern. Basically cut off the ends. So what you see is actually what you got. What I'm gonna do is actually come back with a wire brush after I glue everything down and clamp it down. I'm gonna come back with the wire brush. I kind of like the rustic feel about it, especially since it's gonna be in the workshop. So I don't want to take too much character out of it. I kind of like the way it kind of looks gritty and dirty, like I almost worked before. All right, so what I'm basically gonna do is I have my kind of pattern laid out. I'm gonna start to get to gluing, and I'm probably gonna put a few brad nails just right into it. All I'm gonna basically do is hit it with this wood Gorilla Glue. Kind of lay it down, a nice little pattern. I'm not expecting too much squeeze. Just kind of something for it to kind of squeeze out. Eventually I'll clamp it all down after the brad nail is in. Hopefully we'll get a little squeeze out. After that, I'm gonna basically get rid of all that with the sanding process and everything else. After this, I'm gonna hit it with this paintbrush, kind of smooth it out, get a nice little layer for myself. Right now I'm just going around the brad nails. I did glue everything down originally. Just kind of going around. Just for that extra measure. What I'm going to do is take my circular saw. I'm going to go around it and just square everything out right after. As of right now, it should be all set and ready to go. Alright guys, this is kind of the pad. Right now we're still kind of squaring it off. I actually think I'm going to go around and finish it up with the Sawzall. But if you ask me, this is a pretty good workbench. Tomorrow, I'm gonna probably come back and start making the rest of it. Just kind of make the floor mount, and I'm gonna figure out a way how to connect it. All right, so basically what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna fill all the little cracks and crevices just up with wood glue. Then I'm gonna come with this wire brush just to rug it up a little bit. Obviously, it's a pallet, so there's a lot of designs, a lot of disaster, a lot of rotting, basically on the outskirts of it. Kind of want to get rid of that before I actually sand. After I do that, I'll probably come back tomorrow and build the rest of the base. All right, so we're back. This is kind of what the top of my workbench is looking like. A nice little pattern. I actually did end up stopping yesterday and getting a hand planted. Obviously, like I said, I'm kind of new to the whole thing, so everything's gonna have to be by hand right now and a little more man work, which is okay by me. At this point, what I'm gonna mainly focus on is the base of the table. What I was kind of thinking is just a square base. I might have to glue two 2x4s, basically make them 4x4s. At that point, maybe I could dovetail them into the side of this workbench. Have 4 little corners. Maybe a nice little base just out of the remaining pallets tops, just on the bottom for a little shelf. So I can fit a little crate into it and so forth. I do have a 1/2-inch plywood. I don't know if I was gonna do anything with this. I do like this table being side a little thinner and these little handles right here, only for clamping reasons. That's kind of why I did that way. I'm gonna start breaking down all the pallets, kind of fast through that, and then I'll get back to you when I have everything kind of spread apart and I'm assembling the base. All right, so what I'm basically gonna do, take a reciprocating saw. I'm gonna cut off these top layers because I don't think I'm gonna use these anyway. Okay, basically at this point, I'm not gonna actually work on the base today. There's just other people working where I'm at, so I don't wanna be too loud, don't wanna be disrespectful. At this point though, I'm gonna plane this whole thing. It's gonna take me a little while anyway. I was gonna do it when the table was kind of all said and done, but at this point, the top of the table is kind of set anyway. And I'm gonna basically do the dovetails. I'll probably have to come back with the sanding anyway. I'm not gonna put the tung oil on it to try to clean it up. I'm gonna probably do that after the fact when everything's already done. But at this point, you guys can enjoy me playing a little bit. I got some close-ups on the camera so you can actually see the shavings and a little bit of the orbital sander and a little bit of the hand sanding. The wood folk. So much for being respectful. Honestly, I'm gonna have to bust out the instructions. I don't really know what I'm doing. What I'm actually gonna do is take that wired brush, try to see if I can scratch it down a little bit. Where did I put that thing? Where the hell did I put that wire brush, man? I had a wire brush, right? I feel really stupid because if you were here, everything's like really open. I'm so upset right now.
20 minutes later.
Wired brush. The one I'm doing this is a great question. But my thought is, you see all like the weathering and everything. And I'm gonna try to like scratch that off, kind of just get a cleaner, nicer wood. And then maybe come back with the planing, see what I can do. Then come back with the sanding and maybe square this edge up a little bit because I was having a little trouble with that last time. This is definitely working a lot better than I thought it would. It's actually polishing off. It's doing like a nice little sand. So making everything a little smoother before I actually start. Now if I were you, get a bigger brush. It's gonna take a little bit. I'm gonna try to speed through the process. Honestly, I might be right back when I'm all finished with everything. I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, what I'm actually doing is I wired everything down. It's actually feeling a little nicer. I'm actually gonna come with a 40 grit sandpaper. Try to smooth everything down, and then I'm probably gonna come with a planer. Try to even everything out, and then come back with a 220 grit and a 180 grit. I guess a 180, then 220 grit. I am interested to find out actually is how well this duct's reflector works. Yeah, it worked pretty well actually. My edges are actually very rough, on this side especially. This was kind of the first time I came back. Instead of using the circular saw, I used the Sawzall. I thought it would be a little easier for me, especially knowing how to, thinking I know how to use a Sawzall. Circular saw is definitely the way to go though. Edges are definitely cleaner on the other ends. So this side's gonna take a little roughing up, but that's just what we're gonna have to do right now. Like I said, with my base, I'm gonna put a few dovetails in on the side. Try to make it a good like belly button height work table. At that point, I could clamp everything down still and give myself a little storage. I actually was thinking about putting on wheels. I'm gonna have to kind of look into that. I don't know if it's good to just go with like cheap stopping wheels or to try to get something a little nicer, especially if I'm gonna be using it on a daily basis. But that's just, I'm gonna have to get researching. That's probably gonna be the last thing I add to this whole table. One thing I'm gonna tell you, maybe invest in a little better sandpaper. I ended up doing this. I got this very recently at the BOGO deal at the Home Depot. Pick up a few nice things, especially for this, clamps or whatever. Definitely want to go over some of that stuff on the channel with you. Kind of go over like deals. I'm kind of a tool freak anyway. Like I saw in the first video, you guys saw me use Hercules. That's a Harbor Freight brand. I actually kind of stand by it. I know a lot of people think about Harbor Freight and think about never even stepping foot into there, but it's actually a well-made tool. For the price point, out of honesty, you're kind of spending the same as if you would buy a Milwaukee or a DeWalt. New brand that I kind of like is that Flex brand, also from Lowe's. Actually, one of my coworkers that I do HVAC with has that brand, and just the feel, the weight, and everything from that tool, it's nice. Especially putting like a 2-inch hole saw to it, or anything. Matter of fact, it goes in. Most of my stuff is Milwaukee. That was kind of the first battery I had. So, you know, the first battery, that's the tool brand you kind of get bred into. I got all M18 stuff. I do have some M12 stuff. You'll kind of see me go over everything. When I whip out new tools, that's kind of when I'll talk about them. Right now, this random orbital sander. Out of honesty, I would never buy a battery one ever again. I only got it on the BOGO deal because it was pretty cheap. I believe it was $90. At this point though, you might as well just get a plug-in one, especially if you have a shop like this. It's a little cheaper. It's actually gonna have a little more power. You don't have to worry about batteries dying. This is actually kind of eating up 5.0 pretty fast. And it's kind of heavy on the back end. That's the only thing I can't say I really like about it. But for right now, starting out, this is it's a good tool to have. What I did notice is a lot of the higher ends, because it was a rough piece of wood, I was actually using the end of the orbital sander, just kind of like lifted up to work a specific point. Don't really know if you're supposed to do that. I also noticed that you really don't have to push hard. You kind of just let the tool work. That's with any tool though. Most of the time, if you try to crank something, you end up just breaking the tool anyway. This actually definitely helped me square up my edge a little bit. Harbor Freight, I think it was like $12. Like I said, this is kind of a budget-friendly album. As of right now, like I said, I kind of want to add wheels and everything to it. I'm actually $122 in. Some of you might be saying, why not just buy one then? I actually think I'm saving a little money, especially if I want something big, like to this size that could hold a little weight. Plus, help me make a video, and it's fun to do, so why not have a little something custom to you? Definitely feels a lot better. What I'm gonna do is just kind of follow the grain of the wood. You tell me why that keeps happening? I'd appreciate that somewhere in the comments. I could just have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, and I'm just screaming at me through the phone. You're an idiot!
I'm an idiot! You're an idiot!
I think your boy's figuring it out. So, I think it is, you kind of set the level of the screw to where you kind of want your blade to be. And you tighten this looser or tighter to try to push it down to actually get a nice, even plane. Oh, your boy figured it out! Your boy did not figure it out. He has no idea what he's doing. Here's a little secret about me. I do not read directions. Wing the shit. Now, if you're like me, hopefully you like this challenge. Okay, I'm starting to think my problem is it's just a Harbor Freight tool. Honestly, I thought it was me. Like, you know, I don't know how to use this thing. Just don't buy a Harbor Freight tool. Probably help you out. Honestly, I was having better luck with the orbital sander. Going for 40 minutes. Might go a little higher with this. Definitely go a little higher with this. Kind of see how it is. Basically use the side. Like I said, I was using to see where I could kind of get with it. Welcome to day 3. What I'm basically going to be doing is doing the base. Right here, what I'm going to do is do a 2x4 in this general area and this area. And do a post in the middle. Just a 2x2 post in the middle. Like I said, it is a workbench. So it's for me, not really for you guys. All the stuff I will be doing is for you guys. So it's going to be a little nicer, not so rough together. And I'm going to take my time a little bit. Right now, I'm just trying to film this, get this done, and have a good time so I can show you guys the actual and cool little videos. Let's get to work, baby. First thing I'm gonna be doing is taking apart the 2 new pallets I ended up picking up. I'm gonna break everything down. Sure, you guys don't need to see that again. Okay, so I cut up about 5 pallets. That's all topping board that I might do another design right on the bottom for the bottom shelf. Originally, I kind of wanted to do a 4x4 on both ends of the table, basically going up to make almost like a triangle figure, if that makes any sense. You'll just see visual what I'm visioning. So what my thought going into this is basically cut a 3-foot piece, because I do want it to be belly button height. And you see this little curved piece, 3 feet would almost be right here. I have a basically flat piece, I'm going here, and I should have the structural integrity to hold myself up. Okay, so I cut all my legs about 3 feet. What I'm gonna do is fasten it to the inner side while I have those anchor pieces fastened to the outer side. So it kind of gives me room to pull and room to clamp. So that's kind of my plan right now. Right now I'm just fastening it with 2-inch wood screws. Should be pretty square already. It's not always a bad thing to double check. Okay. Sure, someone's screaming through the phone. No! And tell me why. But you ask me, seems like it's gonna be okay. Almost if it was meant to be like this, man. Be a man. Be a man. Be a man. Be a man. Something? It's not off. I do like where it is. Maybe a warped piece of wood wasn't the best idea. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I can actually tell that my piece is a little warped. So what I'm doing is adding a piece of plywood or a piece of that pallet. It's kind of right there, which I'm actually gonna end up doing anyway, but just kind of even it out. See if this piece fits on the outskirts of it. One day I'll get craftsmanship, man. You call me for your HVAC shit, boy, you better see me. I'm a genius. Genius, HVAC genius.
You know, I'm a creative genius, and there's no other way to word it.
It is slightly, yeah. I end up cutting this trim off the side. We're finally back. It's been a little while. I actually got a new tattoo. Honestly, just been pretty hectic with work, so I haven't had that much time to actually get here. To the point where I kind of just want to throw wheels on this thing, sand it down, get it nice, put the wax coal oil on it, shine it up, and then hopefully we'll start nicer stuff. Let's be honest, I'm not teaching anyone how to do this. I'm new to it myself. Eventually, when I get the experience, just like anything, that's when I'll be able to show you what I figured out. Right now, it's just, we're gonna learn together, and hopefully I could build some cool shit. I wanna start some resin stuff, kind of just making gifts, and then maybe we can get to even to the point where we could sell them, and hopefully this YouTube channel grows. Today we're gonna use the Flex Impact to throw on these wheels. At that point, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take one of those wood pencils. I'm just gonna basically scribble all over it, give it a nice sand. Once that pencil's gone, I know I'm good. Once it's kind of all finished up, I'll put the oil on, I'll leave it to dry, and then eventually I'll use this as some storage, and hopefully we can do some cool stuff. I picked up these wheels. I actually picked them up at Harbor Freight. I'm gonna re-drill my holes. I'm just gonna basically stomp them in. I'm gonna leave them about 1.5 inches away from the edge, maybe like 2 inches. They actually have that stop, and I want to be able to actually grab it. And what I should have did is actually give myself a nice little flat surface. Just take a little bit of this, have a little bump out, maybe make it even a little taller. And if you're wondering, am I cutting everything even? No, I'm just, no one's gonna look, no one's gonna care. Split it. It's okay, I'll probably edit it out anyway, no one will even see.
You thought wrong!
Wheels arm. It's a little high. We got to the point where we got the wheels on. I actually fired up the jigsaw just to line up the bottom. I think I know how to use it now. Obviously, there's still a little learning about it, but like I said, I don't really care if this is perfect anymore. I'm to the point of knowing what I did as a mistake, researching, and to the point where I'm a little better. What I'm going to do is just scribble on this. And from the sanding process, I should be able to kind of get this off. Start with 40 grit, then 80 grit, and 220 grit. What else? Might even more grit. Scribbled out. What it seemed to work the best was just kind of focus on one little plane. It feels nice to throw my hands across it, so I think it's something, right? I'm just gonna keep sanding this, and I'll be back to you when I get the oil on. Everything is flat. When I put a level on it, everything's level. I couldn't ask for much more. Hopefully my next one will be a little better. We're gonna finish it up.
What the hell?
you, I am a man.
You sure about that?
This is kind of what it looks like. If you ask me, definitely not good. There's of course imperfections. I think for a first go, I don't think I did too bad. Let's see where this takes us. And now I have something to start and somewhere to go. All right, it's the next day, and this is the ending result. Things looks kind of all finished. It actually feels very good. Everything's flat. Hopefully you guys join the ride with me and start making some cool shit. See you next video. Let's work, baby.